Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Awaken the World. We are live. It is the 9th day of November in the year of, oh my God, 2020. It is, of course, Return to Innocence tonight, right here in the Awaken the World group, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it is so very nice to see you. So, I sit here for 20 minutes and nothing happens, and just as I start the video, I get a real tickle in my nose. So don't be surprised if I sneeze violently. It always happens, it really does. So first of all, good evening to all of you. I believe it is Monday. Really losing track of days these days, but incredibly busy. Still looking to take some time and do some self-care prior to my surgery in early December. First and foremost, of course, let me relay how much I love every last one of you. You're all a part of me and I am part of you. We're all part of this wondrous one. And this is part of that return to innocence we're going to talk about tonight. So, and this is kind of a tribute to, if you don't listen to Enigma, I really suggest you start listening to Enigma. All of their lyrics are about waking up. They really are. There's a lot of profound messages in there to pick up. And a return to innocence happens to us basically at two times in our back and forth existence between the physical realm and the not physical realm. So when you come in here, when you're born into this world, you are innocent. As a child, you are totally innocent. You have no accumulated experience yet. You're open to everything. And you are free to experience everything without fear getting in the way, without judgment. Little children will eat bugs and they'll decide which bugs they like the taste of and which ones don't taste so good. And if there's a parent around, of course, that parent is going to, get in the way of that process and tell that little child, begin to remove that innocence. No, you can't do that. Bugs are bad for you. So, when you were young and free in your innocence, you sang when you wanted to sing. You didn't care who listened or heard. That came later. You played. You allowed your imagination to carry you away. And you dreamt grand dreams. You saw things that as an adult you stopped seeing. And how is it that our innocence is lost, and how can we relate that to the historical stories we have, if you will, of such things? Well, of course, we can harken back all the way to Adam and Eve and the idea of the tree of knowledge, the tree of conscious thought. And it is that self-realization, that realization of self, that leads to our loss of innocence. Because, of course, not only do we create a sense of self, and this happens, and usually it's fully crystallized these days by the time a child is 11, 12 years old. But we can see it beginning much earlier, around the ages of 2 and 3 years old, when the continuous input of experience is beginning to shape the personality. And the personality is not what you are. The personality is your response to your interface into this physical realm. It's your response to your upbringing, your response to the society you're in, your response to all the experiences you've had. And those responses are, for the most part, outside of your conscious control. During what we would call the formative time of your life, when you truly began to lose your innocence, and through your life experience, you came to learn to judge yourself. And in the act of judging yourself, that's when the last of the innocence is finally lost. So now, as a supposedly mature being, we call ourselves adults, and we tend to look down upon children. We think that they don't know any better, or they know less than we do. And we don't understand that it is us as adults that have lost the ability to see, lost the ability to remain open. We've closed ourselves down. We've started judging ourselves, and we've started judging the events of our lives, and we've started judging everything around us. And we don't make the natural, innocent judgments that children make. And you notice that when a child makes a judgment, the judgment is very matter of fact, and it's not personal. It's more of a simple observation. And if they choose to feel any way about it, they don't hold on to that feeling for very long at all. Much like two ducks who get into a tiff with each other, you'll see them after ruffle their feathers, literally shake that negative energy off of themselves. Children do this naturally through play, through a desire to play, a desire to be active and to be in communication with the world around them. Whereas we as adults, we learn to bury this negative emotion. We learn to bury this energy of those things that we would judge poorly in our own existence. And we hold on to those things. The way we feel we've been wronged in some way, never realizing that it is not us that's been wronged. And as a matter of fact, it's quite impossible for there to be anything personal happening to you. And this is where innocence can gradually be restored. So the first step in helping restore innocence is to realize that there is nothing personal that's ever happened to you. Now, that sounds a little strange, unless you really understand. So let's dive into that one just a little bit and make sure that it's crystal clear. When I say that it's not personal, you have to understand that whoever you perceive is acting against you in some way, if you take you out of that picture and put someone else into the same situation, they too are going to respond in that manner. Every single one of us have to interpret our sense of reality through our conscious mind, through that egoic prism. Now, if that prism is balanced and in harmony with the truth of your existence, then you can see clearly. But the overwhelming vast majority of egoic prisms on this planet, individuated beings as such, the sense of personalities, their prisms are already damaged. They've been damaged through what they've taken on through their experience and the belief that they are somehow a result of their experiences. And it can feel that way from that egoic point of view. So in order to return to innocence, we must accept that there is nothing personal happening to us. The idea that something is happening against us is something that we've been trained into and made to believe. When you were young, you never judged that nature was bringing the rain to ruin your day. You didn't blame nature. You'd look at all the rain and you'd say, I wanted to go out and play. But if you wanted to go out and play, you'd still go out and play. As an adult, we're always looking outside of ourselves, looking for something to blame. And the minute we go outside ourselves looking for something to blame in our existence, we again have lost that innocence. The realization that there is actually nobody to blame. There is only individuated responsibility for the choices that you make on your behalf. Most of those choices these days are made from a place of fear. And those fears lead us to make choices that we wouldn't normally make. And then typically we beat ourselves up for having those fears as well. Again, stealing our innocence from ourselves. One of the most potent ways that you can return to your own state of innocence is through play, is to allow yourself to have fun, to remember what it's like to be a child again, to laugh freely, to dance freely, to sing, to enjoy whatever it is that you enjoy and engage your full being in it. When we accept gratitude and can live from a place of gratitude, not only gratitude for those little things that we enjoy seeing, but gratitude for the big, nasty teachers in our lives. Gratitude for the worst of the worst that we've had to experience. And the realization that throughout it all, there's been this unchanging you. And that unchanging you is the source of your innocence. When you were young, it was not clouded over by that overwhelming sense of self, the egoic personality, the shell, if you will, the control system for the vehicle that you've manifested that you're driving around here. But you are the driver. You are that presence, that observing presence that pays attention to everything that's happening, including the voice in your head. That is you, that deeper self. And if you look at your whole existence, you'll see that no matter how much you've changed, no matter how much your appearance has changed, your relative age in our physical realm has changed, no matter what's happened to you, there is still a thread of you there, an untouchable thread. That is the source of your innocence. And it remains innocent, beyond harm, beyond worry, beyond fear. And that is the place you need to get in contact with again. That place of love and light within yourself, where you truly understand that you live and swim and are made of love. You are that wave on the ocean of love. You appear to be individuated, but you cannot be separate from the ocean. You are part of that magnificent whole. And as hard as it is to accept, there's nothing happening to you. You're having an experience here. And the whole point of the experience is for you to choose what you wish to choose for yourself. How you, as the actor, choose to define the roles that you take on throughout your life. You are not defined by your roles. You have the strength and power to define the role according to your particular point of view. Another way we return to innocence is to let go of our concepts of right and wrong. To be willing to accept that since the dawn of creation, there's actually never been something wrong that happened. That everything that does happen is serving a purpose, even if we can't see it right now. And of course, we are being offered the opportunity to live from higher and higher states of being at all times. If you truly want to return to that state that you were in when you were a child, allow yourself to love everyone and everything around you. Most children are in love with everything. They don't pick and choose. They don't judge. They simply allow their beingness to pour out. And they have an energy that is contagious. You can regain that sense of your childhood at any moment, at any age. Allow yourself to remember those precious times when you felt no weight upon you, when you hadn't taken on the saddle of humanity or your society or your family background. This is the freedom available to all of us all the time. Allowing yourself to freely love everyone around you as an expression of yourself and you as an expression of them will send a message out to creation. And of course, out of a deep love for you, creation responds as you wish. And you watch the love roll back in. We get the idea that as soon as we've been damaged once in some ways, that we've lost our innocence and it can never be returned. Your innocence is a state of mind, or more correctly, a state of no mind, a state of realization of the truth of who and what you are, and the freedom that you have in coming here, the power and strength you have to accomplish whatever it is that you choose. More and more, I find that the numbers of people who are suffering from anxiety and fear and a sense that they are damaged in some way is growing exponentially. There are a plethora of reasons behind this, but I do want to spend a slight bit of time tonight talking about one of the most serious ones that affects women all across the planet. Whether you're aware of it or not, every single woman, especially in modern society, is suffering the effects of 10,000 years of patriarchal rule. Even your sense of what it means to be a woman has to be examined very carefully, because many of the concepts of what being a woman is have arisen out of that same patriarchal control structure. For example, the idea that to flaunt yourself bare-breasted walking down the street in a little tiny top is somehow an expression of your womanhood. The sad news is it's not. It's an expression of what the patriarchal system says you can do to get approval. But it really doesn't have to do with any sense of womanhood whatsoever. This underlying damage creates all sorts of issues for women where they literally don't feel like they're enough. And that lack of enoughness begins when they're young, and it's been passed on generation to generation to generation. You are enough. More importantly, as nature is slowly shifting towards the feminine again, towards a matriarchal culture, towards a matriarchal view of the world, that pendulum is starting to swing back that way again after millennia. And we need this more than ever. We need that womb of creation. We need that mothering, nurturing instinct for each and every one of us. Because, of course, we all have mothers. The very way we choose to live in our societies, of course, is also quite damaging and also assists and helps stripping that innocence from you. It's time to start asking yourself, what is it that is truly valuable in my existence? When you were very young, you had no idea of control. And in truth, there is no such thing as control outside of this energetic body you would call you. And let's face it, most people don't have very much control over that. There is no place outside of yourself that you have control. In order to return to that state of innocence, you have to be willing to let go of your perception of control, because there is no such thing as external power. There is only the illusion of external power, the illusion of external control. And if you have to control someone in order for them to behave in the way that's acceptable to you, you have to ask yourself how real that really is. And whether or not you want to spend your energy attempting to control someone in order to get them to behave in the way you wish them to behave. Part of the big issue is moving past fear and returning to the powerful state that you came into the world in, unafraid to make your own choices, unafraid of the decisions that would lead to whatever fears that you can concoct in your mind. Walking through those fears one by one also leads back to that innocence. In truth, you are a little child here to play in an amusement park. Life is an adventure, and it should be a joyous adventure, and it can be a joyous adventure, and it begins by being willing to alter your point of view, to look at your perceptions closely and see which perceptions are stealing your innocence or returning your innocence to you, and try to live from those places. Much love to you this evening. We will continue on with videos this week. If anyone's really suffering with anything in particular, please get in touch with me. We'll do a video based on that. You are very loved. You are cared for. And there is no reason why you cannot start to realize the wondrous truth of who you are right now in this minute. In nearly 14 billion years that our universe has been here, to our knowledge, there's only ever been one of you, and there will only be one of you for all eternity. You are a gift unto creation itself. And we here right now, humanity, we need each and every one of our gifts. Each and every one of us is precious, unique, and special. Much love. Namaste. We'll speak again very soon.